Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to our Future Managers webinar on the Occupational Welder Qualification. My name is Samantha Simmons, and I had the privilege of working closely with Wikus von Landsberg, the author of this program, on the content development process. Wikus is a highly experienced educator and welding professional with over 2 decades of combined industry and training experience. It's been so inspiring to see how his deep industry experience has been translated into practical classroom-ready material that truly supports skills development. Wikus has kindly prepared a pre-recorded training presentation where he unpacks the structure of the program and shares valuable insights specific to the welder occupation. Wikus is joining us today and will be available for a Q&A session after the recording. Before we get started, just a few quick housekeeping notes. Everyone's mics has been muted to keep the session clear and free of background noise. But please feel free to drop your comments or questions in the chat as we go along. Secondly, the session is being recorded for anyone who couldn't join us today, and we will be sharing the link with all attendees afterwards. Third and lastly, a huge thank you to my colleagues Colin, Liesel, Tumi, and CT, who will be monitoring the chat and helping to gather your questions for the Q&A session later. So, without further ado, let's move over to the pre-recorded presentation. Thank you.
I welcome you all to this Future Managers PowerPoint presentation, where I, as the author of the welding learning material, will share a few slides with you. Thank you for making the time in your busy schedule to listen to us. My name is Wikus von Landsberg. I am the author of the welding learning material. I will share my background quickly. I have worked as a qualified fitter and welder in industry for almost 10 years. I hold the SAIW Level 1 Welding Inspector's Diploma. I hold 2 National Mechanical Engineering Diplomas, 2 trade certificates, a postgraduate certificate in education, a B.Ed Honours degree, where I specialized in technical education, and a Master's of Education degree, where I've specialized in apprenticeship curriculum design with UNISA. I've done my assessor, moderator, and curriculum design courses and registered with Merceta and Cheetah Seta as an assessor and a moderator. I was registered as a trade test officer with both Cetas for welding and fitting and conducted trade testing with them. Then I have been involved in technical education for 20 years. That includes teaching and lecturing in a technical high school and the TVET college in welding and various other technical subjects. I've been a program manager for the mechanical engineering NCV department in a TVET college. I've worked as an external moderator for Umalusi for 14 years, doing welding for NATED and NCV and other technical subjects. And even with my knowledge and practical experience to back me, I still had to delve very deep in creating this learning material. It was very challenging and took me over a year of constant research and planning. I have very little time to say what I need to say. Maybe a few things will not make sense at first, but at the end, there will be a question and answer session. So please make notes, and if you have any questions, then you can ask me again. I have a few presentation objectives. The first one is my curriculum challenges, the 4 pillars of the curriculum delivery and how it affects the future managers' learning material, the QCTO curriculum very briefly, how the future managers' learning material fulfills the curriculum requirements, and then the question and answer session. The first acronym that I want to introduce to you, which I've come across, is the OCWQRH. OCWQRH. I'm not sure if any one of you are familiar with this welding acronym. Let me show you. It stands for Occupational Welder Qualification Rabbit Hole. It was not easy to navigate this curriculum. It felt like I went down a rabbit hole while navigating this curriculum to produce the content in line with this curriculum. I know how it feels to be a rookie welding lecturer in a workshop full of students and to have no idea about assessing practical work or how to judge a practical task. I know how it feels. I was there, and if you look at the welding joint for the first time, they all look the same. You can see some spatter or slack, and then you decide on giving marks. It's very difficult. But there is light at the end of this tunnel. You don't need any fancy qualifications or certifications, as this curriculum suggests. You just need the correct learning material to guide you. But on a more serious note, please allow me to share a few observations of this curriculum document with you. And this is not a name and shame session. This is to communicate to you my understanding of the curriculum, as well as my frustrations I had in designing the learning material. I believe a curriculum is not set in stone. It must be fluid and adaptable. So at the end of this PowerPoint presentation, I will share my personal email and number to you. And if there's any of you there that would like to ask me to add to the learning material, to make changes or to discuss something with me, please make use of this. This is your curriculum and this is your learning material. So contact me to discuss it. I will do my best to accommodate all the input into our learning material. Then my request to you is also, if you decide to use the Future Manager learning material in future, please give me constant feedback. We need the feedback to adapt the learning material to the specific needs of the students, the lecturers, and the colleges. So why did I say it's a rabbit hole? Because I've picked up some issues with the QCTO curriculum document. I believe you have too. Mistakes in the credit scores for the practical modules in level 4, mistakes in the curriculum components. The knowledge modules in the index differ from the content. 14 modules versus 16 modules. Many mismatched codes per knowledge modules and practical modules. And then there's a lot of missing content. The practical modules require gas weld in level 2, but there's no gas weld knowledge modules in level 2. And then in level 3, it has gas weld in the practical modules, but very little to no gas weld in the knowledge modules. There's repeated content in various modules and levels, and there's missing range statements. For example, manual metal arc welding and consumables. This is a topic element in level 3, but on this alone, I can write a complete book. The consumables, there's no range statement that explains to you the consumables, what metal types or metal groups they are talking. And in consumables, there's a lot of classifications. And in manual metal arc welding, there's a lot of detail that you can add to this element, topic element. Then it focuses on the internal assessment criteria for knowledge modules. It lists that you have to describe, name, list, explain, identify, classify, and to focus on the internal assessment criteria for the practical modules list: practice, identify, read, meet BSEN 5817 and 287 standards, and the requirements, adhere to health and safety, recognize defects and rectify them. So when I created the learning material and assessments, I had to focus on these verbs and standards in the assessment criteria for the content and assessments. Then I found that this curriculum, this QCTO curriculum, is giving you the knowledge in the form of many abstract topics, but it lacks the practical skills, the what and the how to apply the practical knowledge. So I had to structure the learning material around actual work processes like tasks, projects, and examples, rather than the abstract topics as it is in the curriculum. Then the curriculum lacks basic scaffolding. A good trade curriculum must have a progressive competency development process, a scaffolding design from simple tasks to complex operations to integrated workplace projects. Level 2 has only 12 weeks with exposure only to gas weld, while level 4 has 63 weeks, suddenly covering all welding processes with high skill level practical applications. There is no arc welding processes included in level 2, or no gas welding knowledge or very little in level 2, but gas welding practicals in level 3. So in designing the learning material, I had to scaffold the learning material knowledge and practical to ensure learners gain confidence, step by step reducing dropout and failure rates. So taking all the challenges above into consideration, I had to be very creative in designing the learning material to still cover the curriculum, but to include the principles of scaffolding and practical application of the curriculum content within the applicable international standards. And I had to design practical tasks to conform to the ISO standards with complete drawings, WPSs, testing methods, and marking rubrics, which is completely missing in the curriculum. I have identified that the QCTO welder curriculum has 4 pillars at its foundation. So I had to design the learning material to adhere to these pillars that is based on the curriculum. The first one is the Bratislava Agreement, then the BSEN ISO standards, then the QCTO curriculum and accreditation, and then the assessment and moderation and the ISA, the trade test. And then lastly, the future managers learning material is like the glue that glues all 4 of these pillars together. So your learning material has to adhere to these 4 pillars, which is the same as what the curriculum is based on. We will start with the first one, which is the Bratislava Agreement. So this slide comes from the curriculum document, page 11. This slide shows you that the Bratislava Agreement was accepted by participating countries as the international standard to test and qualify welders internationally. But if you look closely at the Bratislava Agreement, you will see that it is built upon the ISO 9606 standard. If we look closer at the Bratislava Agreement of 1993, we will see that the Bratislava Agreement aligns all qualification testing with the ISO 9606 standard, which is a welder qualification testing document for all participating countries. That means all participating countries will qualify their welders on the same standard. And the QCTO Occupational Welder Certificate Curriculum document has been designed upon the Bratislava Agreement, which in turn use the ISO 9606 standard. So the next principle is the BSEN ISO standards. So the question that you need to ask yourself is, how do you judge the quality of your students' practical work during training? What standards do you use? What measuring equipment do you use? So the curriculum document is referring 25 times to these two standards, 5817 and 287, in the internal assessment criteria. So it's important to look at these two standards and how they link with the welder curriculum and how they are used in the learning material. So we will start with 5817 and then look at 9606, which replaced 287, mentioned in the curriculum. Only these two important standards are listed in the curriculum, but it is important to understand that these two standards are also linked and underpin many other international standards that is used throughout the knowledge modules and the practical modules, which you will need to incorporate into the learning material. So 287 has been replaced by BSEN ISO 9606 in 2017. And the 9606, which is almost similar to the 287 mentioned in the curriculum, is a qualification testing of welders for fusion welding and for steels. So the first standard that we will look at is the 5817 standard for imperfections and its criteria table. So this is just a summary of this standard that I made, which indicates to you the criteria by which you judge the defects or imperfections of a workpiece or a welded joint. So there's three criteria used in this standard. It's D, C, and B. So you will see criteria D is used for training purposes, like your formative assessments, and criteria C is used for trade testing, and that applies to general construction welding, and criteria B is applied to very specialized coded welding practices, specialized welding. The standard lists the defects as it is listed in ISO 6520. For example, surface cracks, lack of fusion, undercut. And then it gives you the typical measurement on the drawings for the surface imperfection, and then you classify according to the criteria if this defect fails or passes the joint. If you follow criteria D, for lack of fusion, it's not permitted. C, not permitted, and B, not permitted. And this is how you classify your welding joints according to the ISO 5817 standard for imperfections. The second standard that's listed in the curriculum document is called the BSEN ISO 287, but it has been replaced by 9606. So I will do a quick summary of this code as well and explain how it relates to our learning material and how it fits into the curriculum. So the QCTO Welders curriculum refers to 287, but that standard has been replaced by 9606. And in short, this is the standard for the qualification testing of welders. The ISO 9606 is giving the rules or parameters of the trade test and testing of welders, while the 5817 gives the criteria of the quality of the testing. The ISO 9606 also refers to other current international standards used in testing of workpieces or joints. For example, 5817, which is the quality defects criteria, level B, C, and D. ISO 5173, destructive test on welds, like the bend test. ISO 15608, it's the metallic grouping system. ISO 17637, it's non-destructive testing for visual testing. ISO 4063, it's welding processes. ISO 2560, electrode classifications, and many other international standards is also linked to these two standards. Then standard 9606 states the rules about various ranges and essential variables like the welding processes, plate and pipe thickness ranges for testing and qualification, consumables, the types and different types that you can qualify for, and the welding positions in pipe and plate that you can do testing on and qualification. So all these rules and ISO standards has been built into our learning material. It will help you to grade the students' practical work as a pass or a fail, or prepare them for trade testing or even specialized code-did welding testing. That is where you use these two standards. Now, this is a summary of, just to show you how some of the ISO standards, international standards, has been built into the learning material. There's too many. I can only show you a sample. In the knowledge modules, there's all the applicable international standards, the description, and the page numbers. And this is only in the first few knowledge modules of the learning material. And for the practical modules, which is based upon those applicable standards and their descriptions. And they are linked to all the practical modules. For example, where I've used drawings, it's based upon ISO 9606. If we've done the edge preparations criteria, it's based on ISO 2553. So these are some of the international applicable standards that is used in the knowledge modules and practical tasks inside our learning material. ISO 9606, what is the implications for the learning material? Because the QCTO curriculum is based on the Bratislava Agreement, which has not been designed to train students for welding, but for testing. The QCTO curriculum had to adapt and make changes to the Bratislava Agreement to use that as a curriculum to train welders. This is where the curriculum struggled. In my opinion, this is why this curriculum lacks the input for the practical skills, the how to do the welding, which is a crucial missing piece of the puzzle when you train welders for practical work. So I had to build the how into the learning material to accommodate for the practical application of the modules. So the next pillar we need to look at is the QCTO curriculum and accreditation. And we will first look at the QCTO accreditation policy. I know we all have access to these documents and you might have studied them many times, but for the purpose of this PowerPoint presentation, I just need to focus on a few specific details in the accreditation policy. The QCTO occupational certificate, welder summary, weeks and credit document. This shows the learning material for the knowledge modules and practical modules, followed the credit allocations very strictly. If there is a knowledge module worth 1 week's credits, it will not be possible to cram all that work into 1 week or 2 days. This would do injustice to the curriculum as well as the student. You will see the curriculum shows practical modules knowledge modules. Inside the summary, there's the knowledge modules, there's the practical modules and the work experience modules. And there's credits allocated to each module. If you do the translation to hours, there's the total hours, and then you can change it to weeks, the needed weeks. So you can complete level 2 in 12 weeks. Then level 3 looks almost the same. There's your knowledge modules, your practical modules, your work experience modules. There's your credits, the hours you spend, and the weeks you need. 18.5 weeks for level 3. And level 4 needs 62 weeks. There's all the knowledge modules, the practical modules, and the workplace modules, the total credits, the hours, and the weeks. Now we will look at the QCTO accreditation policy. The summary key points of this policy states that an assessor qualifications need only to be the minimum of the specified trade qualification. But if you look at the QCTO curriculum document, it states the following: human resource requirements, qualified welder with 5-year operational welding experience and completed the welding inspector, international welding practitioner, or international welding specialist qualification, and completed a qualification in occupational related training. Although the accreditation policy states that the assessor qualifications need only be the minimum, you only need to be a qualified welder to present this course. So as the QCTO accreditation policy states, you only need the minimum trade qualification. Therefore, you don't need any fancy qualification or certifications as the curriculum document states. You only need to be a qualified welder to be a welder assessor in this curriculum. And then the learning material will have built in all the important ISO standards and codes for any tradesperson to understand, to apply, and to present with full confidence to the students. No need for advanced training or specialist qualifications. Although those additional qualifications will be an advantage if you have them, but it's not a requisite to be a welder assessor. You must have an approved learning material matrix for students. So this approved matrix will be included with the learning material that future managers will provide. The workplace practical can be done in a simulated environment to allow for the curriculum workplace constraints. You are allowed to do workplace practical tasks in a simulated environment. And to help with that, all the learning material, practical tasks from Future Managers is already designed to the correct ISO standards, and it can be used by the assessors with confidence as trade test tasks or simulation tasks. So now we will look at how assessment and moderation is integrated in the learning material. Remember, the QCTO is responsible for the quality assurance of their qualifications from the first enrollment of students to the certification after the trade testing. And they will visit and make sure colleges follows their assessment and moderation policy. Now we will look in more depth how the QCTO requires internal assessment and moderation at campus level, and how the learning material will assist the facilitators in the moderation process. Here we will look at the QCTO assessment policy. The key points of the assessment policy states, learners must do formative assessments during the program and compulsory summative assessments at the end of each module. So the learning material will have complete assessments at the end of each topic, which can be used for both formative and summative assessments. It will include all the answers to these assessments in the lecturer guide. It further states assessments must test the necessary knowledge, skills, and values, and therefore the topic assessments in the learning material has been designed to use various types of questions to cover various cognitive levels. Students must do integrated internal assessments. The internal integrated assessments is an assessment that tests multiple modules in one assessment, for example, a mock exam or a mock trade test. And the policy states that candidates must be prepared for the ASAP, the trade test, by means of an integrated internal assessment. All the practical tasks and their marking rubrics is designed in the learning material, and it speaks to the correct ISO standards, and the assessors can use them to build up summative and integrated practical exams. Internal quality assurance and record keeping is compulsory, according to the moderation policy. What is quality assurance? Quality assurance is the process where the quality of the assessments is confirmed and controlled, while record keeping is the evidence of all the assessments, like your marking and your moderation processes. And to help with that, the learning material will include complete sets per level with assessment plans, pre and post moderation forms, marker reports, moderators reports, record keeping schedules, and assessment cover pages. It will all be included in the learning material as part of a QR code for assessors to use in the internal moderation processes. Then the policy requires the issuing of a statement of results to candidates, and that statement of results is only valid for 2 years. After that, the student has to redo the program or follow an RPL process. So the student has 2 years to complete the trade test after the issuing of the statement of results. So the next section is how the Future Managers learning material is combining all 4 of these criteria, and to show how the learning material integrates the curriculum requirements. So your curriculum components is built into the learning material, like your knowledge modules, practical skill modules, topics, topic elements, your internal assessment criteria with various assessing methods, knowledge and practical assessments, learning material matrix, and the student practical logbook for workplace modules. This is an example of a learning material matrix. You will see that there will be a learning material matrix that shows the specific modules and topics, the codes, on which page the learning material lists the outcomes and the type of content in the learning material. So this learning material matrix is compulsory when you apply for accreditation, and future managers will include this complete matrix in their bundles. Then the logbook, there will also be a complete logbook for all workplace modules included that will show the modules like fillet weld, a range of materials. There will be a space for the mentor or the supervisor signature, the date, the student signature, total hours, and the time frames of the practical workplace experience. The curriculum requires that you follow credits. 1 credit is 10 hours. I have utilized the complete credit score for each topic and topic element. If it says 1 credit for 10 hours, you will have to spend 10 hours on that content in that specific module. Then if it comes to theory, knowledge questionnaires on level 2, I have created 11 questionnaires, level 3, 10, level 4, 8. I've created 29 questionnaires with answers that will be included in the lecturer guide for assessors to use in their formative and summative assessments. And for practical skills tasks, I've created 27 practical skill tasks in level 2, 24 in level 3, and 36 in level 4. This is a total of 87 practical tasks that's included in the learning material. It covers the cover pages, drawings, the WPS, equipment list, marking and testing, rubrics and score sheets. And we will look at 2 examples in the learning material, a knowledge module 3 and a practical module 3. The knowledge module, this is an example of a knowledge module, welding, schematics, calculations, welds and welded joints. And there you will see the knowledge module specifications, and the credit score here is 6. This is how it will indicate the topic and the topic elements and the internal assessment criteria. And topic 2, weld and welded joints, and it will also indicate the percentage allocation towards the credit scores. Topic 2 will be 70% of the credits, and topic 1 will be 30% of the allocated credits. All topics will end in an activity, and you will see the activities used various types of questions. For example, these are multiple choice. There's missing words. There's matching column A and B. There's drawings, identify, diagrams, draw. There's true or false, matching columns, and labeling and describing sketches. Every topic will end in a complete topic assessment with various types of questions which can be used. Then a practical task example. All practical tasks will start with a cover page for the the curriculum information, and then the students' information. It shows the topics and content covered. It shows how it's linked the knowledge modules to the practical modules and the results, competent or not yet competent. There will be a space for feedback from the assessor. There will be a student declaration and a moderator's space. There will be an instruction sheet for the practical module, giving instructions, showing the applied knowledge. The practical skills tasks will be explained. You'll have a tools and equipment list. You will have a WPS indicating all the important variables like your welding process, the material type, the material thickness of your workpieces, type of joint, the positions, inspection standard, which is your ISO 5817 level C, the destructive test type, which is a fillet fracture. It will give your visual inspection marking rubric on ISO 5817 level C. Here you will see the criteria is listed, all the type of defects that the lecturer must verify is listed: undercut, overlap, surface porosity, arc strikes, the weld profile, leg length, crater filling, spatter, fusion, and alignment. And already you have level C of 5817 as a standard included, which the lecturer can just verify if the joint conforms or do not conform to these standards. And you have all 4 practical skill tasks included in this rubric to cover this specific outcome of the curriculum. 1F, 2F, 3F, and 4F for shielded metal arc welding. And you then use this to pass or fail the joint on these criteria. You will also have an included fracture testing marking rubric, which utilize 2 standards, 5173 and 9606. It looks at the criteria, fracture type, internal defects, fracture surface, specimen dimensions, and bend acceptance. And again, there's the parameters, and there is 1, 2, 3, and 4F practical tasks that you must use to judge. Then you have the applied knowledge and safety test evaluation rubric, and there you have the criteria for all the applied knowledge during the practical task, where you also just justify the 4 joint types, position types of the joints. And lastly, every practical task will have a complete drawing according to ISO 2553. You will have your workpieces, the dimensions and the sizes, and you will have the different positions that's included in this practical assignment: 1F, 2F, 3F, 4F. You also have the applicable welding symbol that the student needs to identify and to use and to do the practical task. So this will be a shielded metal arc welding plate, fillet weld, 1F, 2F, 3F, and 4F for carbon steel. And this is practical task 13 in the practical modules that's listed there. So coming back to the assessment and moderation internally in the campus, on campus level, all these internal assessment moderation documents will be available with the learning material in the form of a QR code on a microsite on the web. It will be part of the learning material bundle. It is all designed and tailored specific to the QCTO curriculum outcomes for level 2, 3 and 4. And if you look at a few of the examples, there will be an assessment and moderation summary for all 3 levels, an assessment plan for all 3 levels, an assessment schedule and record form for the students on all 3 levels. There will be a cover page for the assessments, a markers report, and a post-moderation and a pre-moderation instrument. If you look at examples, the assessment schedule and record form will look like this. There will be space to include the assessment date. The assessment tasks will be already there. It will show you the assessment tool as a test or a practical. It will include all the modules and topics, and it will have space for the assessor to complete the duration, the assessment mark, the percentage scored by the candidate, and if it was competent or found not yet competent for this specific assessment task. And this document will be pre-populated with the complete level 4 curriculum. And there's also the same for level 2 and 3 included. An assessment plan will look like this. There will be space for the assessment date. The curriculum again will be pre-populated, and then there will be space to show the duration, the assessment mark allocation, the examiner's name, the moderator's name, when will be the pre-mod date and when will be the post-mod date. This is called an assessment plan. There will be an assessment and moderation summary document, and this will show the number of assignments. It will show the summative assessment modules that's been covered. Here you will include the subject head, which will do the pre-moderation. You will include the assessment date, and you will include the post-moderation date. The lecturer on campus will do that, and there you will include the due date on the system for the marks that will form part of the mark sheet for the students. And then if we look lastly at the Welder Trade Test Index, you can use this to prepare your students for the mock exam. As I said, you can build up your practical mock trade test exam from all the practical module tasks that's included in the learning material. They are at the correct standard. And the Welder Trade Test Index shows you the possible tasks to use as a mock trade test, where you can use that to build up your mock exam. All the practical skills tasks in the learning material has been designed within the correct ISO standards. It includes your WPS with machine settings, consumables, positions, the marking rubrics and drawings within the practical skills assessments. So the lecturer can build up various mock trade exams by using them. So how does the trade test index look? It will be like this in the trade test. This is a department form. So this is how the trade test will look in the trade testing exam. There will be cutting and gorging for 30 minutes, gas weld 1 hour, multi-pass, stick welding 1 hour, multi-pass, MIG welding 1 hour, single pass welding, TIG welding 1 hour, multi-pass and multi-process, TIG and MIG 4 hours or 8 hours, then that's on pipe, that's on plate, multi-pass and multi-process, TIG and MIG on pipe, and multi-pass, TIG on pipe 2 hours and 30 minutes. Thank you. This was a very quick session. We will have the question and answers now following. If there's any questions that you need, if you have to ask, there is my email address, vickers.von.landsberg@gmail.com, and my cell is also there if you need to contact me. Thank you very much.